So you've got a new album out, which I've had a chance to listen to.
Uh-huh.
And it's great. It's great. Really reminds me of kind of, I mean, you've kind of done a variety of things, but I sense a lot of throwback, maybe to the Hanoi Rocks era, maybe a little bit in this. Obviously, it's probably hard to get away from that because that's part of you as well, of your career, whether it's solo wise or band.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I feel like I mean, you really have some classic sounds kind of brought back from the past for me, anyway.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about making this album and you know what the process was like.
Gladly, yeah. Well, Hanoi is always going to be part of me one way or the other, and that's cool. But yeah, I think there's a lot of there's a lot of variety on this album, and really I chose on purpose. I went for different types of songs that we haven't done before, and kind of with this record, I think I managed to renew and refresh the band's sound and style in the best possible way. You know, song wise, production wise, and arrangement wise, and and recording wise. We had a completely new. I went for a totally new studio, a new engineer I never worked with before, and it was a conscious risk because you know I wanted to try something new and also have a basically try to well you know we had 34 songs last summer to choose from.
Wow. Wow.
It was a good problem to have, but it had yeah, it took a lot of work to decide on what to leave out and what to keep. And I'm happy. I'm very happy we ended up. I managed to stick to you always try to go for the 10. And
Yeah.
when I keep it to 11, that was great because I want an album that you want to, after it's over, you want to hear it again. And
Sure.
this, we had so many choices, and still the new studio and the new guy, this guy Erno Leitinen, the engineer. I met him. I met with him in the fall, a couple of months before the recording, and I decided to go with him because he had a good vision, and he ended up being more like a producer than an engineer. That he had with the band, you know. So
Nice.
we ended up he's credited as the producer. Him and me and Sammy and Rich and Steve and Carl. We all produced together because he had good ideas, and he's a guitar player himself, and he's produced a Finnish band, like a pop rock band called Hello Helsinki. Hello Helsinki. It's one of the biggest bands in Finland, and they probably had the most hits of any band ever in Finland, and he's always wanted to do a rock record. So and this was a perfect time for him, the timing for him too. So really love his way of working too. He has a really good also attitude about stuff, and it was for me. We had a great chemistry, and we recorded the first basic tracks in about a week and a half. We had Sammy and Carl and Steve were done in, well, Sammy and Carl were done in about a week, and then Steve stayed for about 3 more days, and Rich and me stayed. We started in the beginning of November and we finished. We lived in Helsinki in apartments because I live in Turku, a couple of hours outside Helsinki. Although I grew up in Helsinki, I was born there. But recorded there, kept working on it. The rest of the guys went home. Steve sent some stuff over from his house, but we were doing the vocals and the overdubs. Me, Rich, and Erno, and for the remainder of the month, almost till the end of the month, and. Then we were done. It was, yeah, there were a couple of songs left over from the last album, and one of them I thought for sure was going to be on this album. But then in the end of the album, after we were done with the recording, I thought it didn't fit this album anymore, which is great.
Sure. Didn't fit the overall template, I guess, of the flow of everything, right? So
Yeah, everything just fell into place. And I looked at the whole track listing after I put it together, and I thought, I'm sure this is the one. The confirmation was... it was when I looked at the beginning. The first song is called "Murder," the Summer of Love, and the second to last song is "I Live Too Fast to Die Young," and the last one is "Dearly Departed." So, 3 songs, the beginning and the end, referring to death, but in a positive way. Not isn't like "Murder," the Summer of Love. It's not about killing a person. It's about killing an idea. And
which is a great song, by the way. I really like that. It's a great song to kick off the album with too.
Thanks. One of my favorites too. And Live Too Fast to Die Young, reinventing an old cliche, live fast, die young. It's like boring, nobody, and that's nothing cool about dying young anyway. So
Sure.
the perfect title for me is like one of my new middle names. It could be the name of my book. And Dearly Departed is, referring, I mean, that's about losing someone near and dear to you and having to readjust your life to that situation. And it's a personal song. I wrote the lyrics in 2001 when my late wife passed away, and I didn't want to record it until now, as it was a bit too sad and personal. But then life had sometimes, and it's supposed to be sad, and it turned out really. Sammy had a good. Sammy actually used to. We had some memorable nights in New York with my late wife, me, Sammy, and her hanging out and having some deep conversations. And he was thinking of those days, and he sent me the idea of the musical approach, which we have album, which I thought was great. I thought, yeah, this is cool. No drums, or some toms they're real muffled, and really has that haunting kind of atmosphere. And when I heard his idea of the music, I thought, wow, this is it. I did a vocal on the demo, and I said, this is the way to go. This is going to be the last song of the album. So, in any case, when I saw that, the beginning and the end, I was like, okay, this is the track listing. Thank you, my guides or whatever, and all everything all together. It's really, really. Derelict Palace is one of my favorites. There's a lot of air and ear candy and very Lords of a New Church kind of vibe and style. Is like an homage to Steve Baders and the Lords, and Everybody's Nobody is one of my. It's going to be the next single. It's coming out on the 8th on Wednesday. It's going to be a video. Everybody's Nobody.
Nice. Looking forward to that. That'll be great.
Yeah, I wrote that with Rich. We did it before the pandemic. That was already like the summer of 2019 and All Fighter was written then too. So some of the songs were written before, but then some of them came later. And No Guilt was during the pandemic. I think. Well, actually, that was the summer after the George Floyd murders, because it's about crooked cops. The lyrics were written about during the summer riots in the U.S. and the aftermath of the George Floyd murder, and it's about how the system was all crooked and set up to help these scumbags to get away with murder and time again. So that's honestly the subject matter of the song. I had the chorus. I sent it as a text message to Rich, and then he worked on the verses and then sent it to me, and then I did a vocal on it, and we send stuff back and forth too. But that's what you can do. That's one of the good things about the internet, that you can work like that. And having Slash do a solo, after when I asked him, I know he was really busy, and I said, would you like to play a solo on this track? It's going to be the title track of my new album. And he says, well, he's super busy, but when do I need it? And I said, well, like now. Another time, I understand. It's no problem. And 2 days after that, we had the solo. It was like, wow. God bless you. I love that guy. Solo too. It's like off the cuff, totally spontaneous. Wow. In this age when everybody always puts everything with Pro Tools, makes it all perfectly in place, he just winging it, like clearly a one-shot kind of deal. It's just like it had to be. So and I love the way
it's refreshing though, right? It's refreshing to hear somebody do it that way. I mean,
absolutely,
because there's an energy sometimes in that first take where after you do it 30, 40 times, it's lost a little bit, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think that's kind of cool that we still have people who can pull that off.
That's right. And you can tell, I mean, his signature sound, you can tell it's Slash right away. And the solo, it's just like towards the end, it almost like falls apart, and then it comes together. And it's just like, it's like perfect. Yeah, that's
very cool.
It's best live music and spontaneous, and that's what music is at its best. So in those moments, those first takes, it's funny because when that happens, it's always the best when that happens, and you just can't recreate them. You could try, and when you get to a point where you're like, okay, for the 10th time, you go, okay, the first one was the best one, but that sometimes happens. And then again, Antisocialite, that song, the vocal, I really liked the lyrics, and I thought that was I really relate to that one. I'm gonna make it work. And Rich was kind of thinking that maybe it's I was concerned about the fact that kind of song we'd never done before, and that can easily become a corny power ballad kind of thing. If you make it too pompous, too big.
Sure.
So we just wanted to keep it really small, and we actually, as a blueprint, we used the mix of John Lennon Imagine. We want to keep it as small as that and very simple, and no unnecessary fills or anything. I mean, if you listen to Carl's drumming, it's like I think there's 2 fills in the whole song, and
Wow.
Phil, he goes like, it's a shuffle become, and it's really cool. And so I did the vocal. I done like a demo piano on that, and I did the vocal on that. That was the first vocal I sang in the recording, and I thought that would be, because that was the most kind of the hardest one to sing, I thought, or most challenging. And then we were far into the recording, and I had a gig. I had to do a private event gig. I did one night, and then the next day I had to get back in the studio. And the gig was like a couple of hours outside Helsinki, and I went back into the studio. It went on so late, so I didn't get to sleep more than like 2.5 hours. I had, the night before, and I get to the studio in the morning. I was like, "Hey guys, I want to try the vocal of Antisocial again. I'm sure I can do it better." And Rich and Erno were like, "Oh man, it's a great vocal already. And what are you talking about? It's just fine as it is." I was, "Yeah, I know, but I know I can do it better." So I said, "Let me just give it a shot." So I did one take, and they were like, "Wow, it sounds great." So tired as I was, my voice sounded perfect for that moment. And sometimes, so I redid the whole vocal that morning.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the vocal. And that's one of my favorite vocals on the record, and it's like it worked out cool. And sometimes sleep deprivation works out for the best,
Sure.
But you can't plan on it, so it's not like, okay, I'm going to stay up and.
Yeah, it could hinder your performance as well, I suppose, under the right circumstance.
Yeah, and for that moment it worked. Yeah.
So you were talking about penning and singing the song for your late wife. Which, as you said, very personal and I'm sure sad. Did you find that to be kind of cathartic as well, though, to actually finally follow through with that? I mean, playing it and singing it, did it feel like a release almost of some of that emotion and things that were left over?
Well, that's actually, now that you say that, I think so. Yeah, I think I feel great that I finally got that song. I fleshed it out, and it's on the record, and it just fits the album perfectly. It's a perfect ending after all the even though there's a lot of air and variety and stuff, and your ear doesn't get tired of the album. But then in the end, after Live Too Fast to Die Young, after that hard rocking song, all of a sudden you get to this total different world.
Sure.
Very etheric, kind of haunting. That atmosphere, it just worked out perfectly. So I feel great about having that there, and really, and obviously it was emotional to sing that. There was no need to work up any kind of emotion. That's like I could, that automatically.
It's natural, sure.
Yeah. So that was definitely heartfelt, and yeah, cathartic for sure. It was some kind of, it was a certain kind of release and conclusion, or what's the word? The fulfillment of that.
Yeah, I mean, almost like part of the grieving process, I would think, in a way. Still, like looking back on those memories and those emotions.
Yeah.
Is that a song you will perform live, or do you think it would be difficult to perform for you live?
It wouldn't be. I don't think it would be. It would not be difficult to perform it live, but to create that sound world live might be. It would be more demanding, because there's that EBO, and there's that rhythm guitar is actually Sammy's demo. That
Sure.
kind of the rhythm guitar, and then there's like all this ear candy, all this. There's a hand claps, the Spanish kind of that comes in.
Sure.
And there's so many elements there that it's more like a painting. So that would be hard to create live unless you just had then you would have to probably play the track from tape and then sing. That way it could be done, but I wouldn't want to do that because we always play everything live. We don't use tapes. So
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's kind of been a big subject in the hard rock metal arena lately, with a couple of bands that have been caught doing backing tracks, and maybe not well. And it was pretty obvious, and so a lot of the fans were really outraged, that they go to see a band perform live and they're not really live. I mean, partially, but So that is something you never play to a tape. It's not something you've ever even done before, right?
No, I mean, if there would, I would understand if it was like something like like with Alice Cooper, there's Second Coming, Ballad of Dwight Fry, Second Coming, that transition where that beautiful piano part was, Mommy, where's Daddy? He be gone for so long. If that kind of bit in between songs is played from tape, that's understandable. That's okay. Sure. But if you have somebody who's singing and not singing, you have this vocals coming, or even backing vocals coming from tape, and then you hear somebody says, "Oh yeah, they had the wrong song." A different song. Oh, accidentally they played a different song's backing vocals and go and they get caught, and that's exactly how embarrassing, how ridiculous, and that's like cheating. I mean, playing live that's what it's all about, especially now with the internet. The moment when you're playing live to a live audience, you have to be there in that moment, and you can't recreate that with any kind of. You can't download that or copy or with a computer. You can't recreate that. You have to be there in that moment, and that's
an experience, correct? Yeah.
And that is sacred to me. It's a sacred moment. That's where rock and roll becomes religious to me, you know. And you can't fake that. And if you start using like playing tapes and you're faking it, and that's kind of like cheating yourself and cheating the audience. And why would you? I mean, you buy the record and you can listen to the record, but when you play live, that's what you want to hear. You want to hear the real thing, and you would never play exactly the same way.
So just to be clear, Michael Monroe is not faking it.
Not faking it. It's just real
perfect.
Also, there's an instrument in Dearly Departed called the nose flute. You know, this plastic thing that you play with your nose. You blow with your nose.
Oh, really?
You go.
Well, that might be interesting to do live.
So So on Dearly Departed, in the solo part, you can hear in the background, you hear with the echo. That's a nose flute.
So yeah, you might not want to do that live. It might be interesting, right?
I do actually have this on with my harmonicas, and once in a while I grab the harp mic with the distortion. I go, woo!
Yeah.
You know,
you're a man of many talents, Michael.
Well, yeah, that's one of the instruments. And I saw it in a musical store. I went to the music store and I said, "What's this?" There was like a jar of these things. And I was like, he said, "It's a nose flute." "Really? How do you play that?" And they said, "Well, you blow from here and it's just a pitch." I'm like, wow. I said, "Yeah, a new instrument." But
yeah, you have to label that, right, though, so no one else uses it.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody. Mind you, I was in when the Foo Fighters played in Helsinki in was it 2018 or something? I think it was 17. In Helsinki, I was at the show and they invited me up on stage like 4 times. I went to play the harp on "Miss You."
Nice.
And I did harp on the middle section of "Pretender," and then we did "The Best of Me." I didn't, and we actually ended up. The last song of the gig was "Let There Be Rock" with me singing AC/DC. "Let There Be Rock" was the last song of the whole.
Nice.
Ended up with me doing the splits, and there's big headlines and everything. It was fun, great time. But when the "Best of Me" was one of the only songs that I think of the key was like C sharp or something funny. And I had my harps with me, and I had checked their songs ahead of time. I thought, just in case they asked me to play, but I thought they're not going to ask me anyway. So I had the right harp for that song. I left it in a hotel. I was like, and then comes in and says, "Hey man, you could play on this too." I was like, "Okay, what's the harp?" I was like, "Oh shit, that's the one I just left." But I had another. I took another harp, which wasn't right, but I could kind of play, but I couldn't really wail on it. So I grabbed the nose flute, and at the end of the solo, I was like. And Dave Grohl went like, "What the fuck is that?" So the next morning, I went to the hotel. I went to say bye to them when they were leaving. I went to say, say farewell at the hotel, and I brought them all. I gave each one of them their own nose flute, and
we might hear it on a new album then for them. You never know; it might be incorporated in a song.
Dave actually got it right away. Dave went like, "How does it work?" I said, "You blow from here, and you just a pitch there." You go. He was like that. I was, "Wow, you got it!" So all the other guys, "How do you play it?" And I said, "Well, Dave will teach you."
Well, I'm so excited to see that you still have such a great fan base. You still have such a loyal following of your solo career. Obviously, I'm a huge Hanoi Rocks fan too from back in the day. any chance you're going to do any more material under the Hanoi Rocks name, or are you strictly a solo artist at this point?
I'm a solo artist, and Hanoi Rocks is. We'll let Hanoi rest in peace. The thing, but however, I mean, Hanoi Rocks will resurface in a way now with the Oriental Beat album. The second album, Oriental Beat, which had a lot of great songs, but the mix of the album was horrible by the producer. I don't know what he was going for, but it was really terrible. And we had no idea. We heard the mix after it was already pressed onto vinyl. I met the hotel and he played the song.
Oh no, so you couldn't go back and fix it. Yeah. So.
If I knew what I know, if I known what I know now, I would have said, fuck it, let's go remix it. But they at that point we thought, well, I guess we can't help it, and we just let it. It came out, and now years later, we also thought the multi-track tapes were lost, because when Guns N' Roses released our back catalog back in the day in 1990 or 91 on the Uzi Suicide label in the States, then we wanted to remix that record, and then the Finnish label said that they had lost the multi-track. The multi-track tapes were sent to Germany to some producer to mix, and they were lost. And we were like, what? So we thought it was impossible to remix it. But then I relocated the tapes a couple of years ago in Finland. Universal Music record companies storage. So I got a tip from somebody, and I found out that they existed there. And I got him. I called the head of the label, and we have now remixed the Oriental Beat album with
very nice.
me at first, and then me and Andy McCoy, we went into the studio to finish it in February, and now it's just being mastered last week. Was the final master, and it will be released the end of this year. I don't know if the vinyls. We're trying to make the vinyl. The vinyl is there's a long line because of the COVID situation for vinyl.
Sure.
But we should be able to. Well, at least we'll get out the CD and digital, and the vinyl will be able to order maybe already, but before the end of the year. This is the anniversary. See, it's 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
21st century.
Big one.
Real mix, not only the remix, the real mix. It's going to be
nice.
Cool. So it's
will there be any extra added tracks like demos and things on it too, or just a complete remaster in the sound?
Actually, no, it's a remix. Actually, I mean, it's a remixed, no overdubs, no samples, the sounds as they were. But we found, I mean, it wasn't badly. We thought it was really, the recording was bad too, but it wasn't that bad. We had I remember us having some rough mixes from the studio that we listened to. We thought, oh, this is going to be great. And so we were able to find with what was there. We mixed, all the songs were remixed, and no samples used, but just made it sound like it was supposed to originally, like guitars. You can hear guitars. I mean, the original mix has like snare drum and vocal pretty much, and there's a lot of great stuff with the guitars that it's missing, and really in a worst possible way it was screwed up. So and I also on 4 songs there was an alternate vocal track. Oriental Beat was one of them, and I think Motivating and No Law Order, and it might have been Teen Angels Outside. All the other ones were wiped out. So on Oriental Beat there was like maybe I probably used like 1/3 of the other track that was the old the unused.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in the beginning, that
cool.
long scream that goes like, and I was, what was that? And I'd never put it there, in the intro, and it really, really sounds so much better. So I'm excited about that. That the real mix is going to come out. It was originally reduced by what's his name, and now produced by proper.
So basically 40 years later, you actually can see your full vision of what you wanted that album to sound like.
The longest and the slowest project I've ever done, album.
Well, it's a great album as is, great songs on it, so I'd really be looking forward, obviously, to hearing them remastered to what your true vision, for that to sound like is. So yeah, I'm really going to be looking forward to that. I'm sure your fans are as well. So yeah,
it's going to be great. And also, there's also we found at the same time, I found a couple of reels of outtakes from the first album sessions, from Bangkok Shock Saga and Shakes Hanoi Rocks album sessions, and some demos and outtakes also from Oriental Beat stuff. Nothing, nice. But from the same time period. There's some different versions. There's like a No Law Order with Andy singing a lead vocal, and then there's a bunch of stuff that I never even knew existed. So be some kind of box set, probably the following year in 2023. That's going to have a lot of treasures. So that'll be cool.
Well, it's nice to see that your legacy is still intact and still, like in this case, able to release somewhat new material, even though you're not, recording new songs and stuff. I think that's fantastic. And like I said, I really like to hear it when a band puts their true vision together for things. Because you never know, when you hear an end product as a fan or a listener, if that was really what you intended. As the artist, you know what you wanted it to sound like. So when you get those remastered and the band is actually involved, you can hear it. I mean, you can hear it when you play it back. You can tell, that they emphasize certain things that was important to them in those songs, and you can hear it in that mix. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Yeah. How about touring for the solo album? I know travel's a little probably difficult still with some of the COVID regulations and things. How far are you planning to go on tour?
Well, we're starting. Actually, we're playing on Sunday. We're playing in Germany at a festival, Hard Rock Festival in Germany, and then on Monday the 6th we're opening for Alice Cooper in Copenhagen.
Nice.
We're doing finished. Alice is also playing on June 10th. The release date of the album. We're playing with Alice on the same festival in Finland, Rock in the City.
Great.
And Sweden Rock, the day after that in Sweden Rock, we're doing we're playing there, and Guns N' Roses are playing the same day. And
oh wow, that'd be a great show to see.
And we're also we're doing 6 more shows with Alice during June, and the Hellfest Festival in France, Askena Festival in Spain, and we're opening for Guns N' Roses in London on July 1st and 2nd at the Stadium, and there's a bunch of dates there's festivals in Finland, Sweden, Wacken in Germany, and then Hard Rock Hell in Sheffield in the UK, and in Europe, and a bunch of shows coming up, and we're planning to tour more on this album as soon as we get on a good tour. It's great to be opening for Alice, and especially in Germany, because we haven't played there much, even with the old Hanoi. I don't know why, but we played a couple of shows only in Germany. We never played in Spain or France or Italy or places like that in the 80s. So there's a lot of ground to cover, and unfortunately the States are a challenge, because it's you really need to get on a big arena tour with a big act to tour for a year or two to get even noticed, and doing little clubs around the Midwest is not gonna get you nowhere slow, so but we'll keep playing as much as possible, and I keep expanding my fame.
Well, hopefully you will get on one of those large arena tours for the U.S., because I'd love to catch you guys live. I'm sure you've got some songs to do off of this new album that you'd like to present live.
Yes.
That I think would go over really well, so that would be great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Americans know their rock and roll. You guys, it's a culture. It's part of the culture and part of the history. It's already probably in the history books. You have your Chuck Berry, Richard, and the whole history. That's where it came from, and that's why I love playing in America, because you appreciate. Also, the 2 guitar rock and roll bands are,
Oh yeah.
From
absolutely.
But yeah, I could always tell I love that, and really would love to play there as much more than we are. But actually, I think the Monsters of Rock cruise was canceled on our part because of the Corona, and now next year I think that's going to happen. We're going to play there in February, I think. Next year. Yeah, I think that's at least that's something somewhere. It's in the States.
Cool. Maybe I can catch you on that one.
Yeah, and also the Demolition 23 album will be released on Little Steven's Wicked Cool Records now for the first time ever on vinyl, and I mean it's been unavailable for years and years.
Yeah.
And that has been remastered. I was there at the mastering. It's got much more drums. It kicks ass even more now, and it's coming out on vinyl and CD and on and digital, all formats in October. So
wow, so lots to look forward to from you over the next coming months.
Yeah, and the 60th birthday concert, I'm turning 60 on the 17th in a couple of weeks. But we're going to have a celebration concert in Helsinki at the Ice Hall on September 23rd. It's going to be a special occasion with a lot of the special guests and a big production and a once-in-a-lifetime memorable concert. So anybody who's interested, come on down. It's going to remember.
Well, early happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, the second person who said that to me today. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you. And still rocking harder than ever. And I live too fast to die young, and now it's too late to die young. So I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, I love the motto. It's great. It's just like you've taken that and revamped it for where you're at now, and it's perfect. It's great. So because your fans, we get older with you. So as we all age, we all think, I think along the same lines too. No, not ready yet.
Absolutely. You keep a fresh, young mind. You stay young forever, and rock and roll is the way to do that. That provides the way to keep that excitement and enthusiasm and curiosity, childlike curiosity about life, every day, all the time. It's I never want to lose that. And never want to become complacent and think like, okay, routine and all that. Just that's what keeps life interesting and keeps me trying harder all the time. It's a good thing that you can never achieve perfection, because then you keep striving for it, and it keeps me hungry, because there's always for improvement, and I always try to do better. Live shows, records, and everything. So that's what keeps life fun.
Well, I appreciate so much you taking the opportunity. It's a real honor for me to actually get a chance to speak to you today, because like I said, I've been a big fan for many years. And so, thank you from everyone at XS Rock. We're all huge fans. We have an album review coming up for you real soon too. So hopefully we can catch you. If you do a date here, or who knows, if we're overseas, maybe then.
Thanks for all your support and for playing the song.
Absolutely.
It's really appreciated. God bless you.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Take care. All right.